We're going to look at your rights regarding car insurance if you're involved in an accident, and certainly with the temperatures dropping to near freezing or below and the potential for storms or black ice out there, you do have to be extremely careful driving. But if you do get in an accident, I think you're going to want to know this information. And attorney Paul Harding from the law firm of Martin, Harding and Mazzotti is here now to talk about it. Hey, Paul, good to have you with us. It's a tough subject to think about. Nobody wants to be in an accident, but I'll tell you what, better be prepared, because I think a lot of us don't quite know what to do when it happens.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough topic. It's stunning when it happens, but then all this weird stuff begins, including property damage the second you end up in an accident.
Yeah, how about that? And because people are never happy with what they're offered on a car when it's been involved in an accident. How is that value determined?
Yeah, you know, it used to be a little bit easier. We heard the terms book value, blue book, things like that. And now they use a thing called fair market value. And it is fair, but it may not be as fair as you hope it is when you're looking at the value of your own car. What they do is they take 4 or 5 cars, I believe that's the minimum, in your area, similar car, find out what they sold for, and that's what they offer you. And so you're kind of stuck with that unless you want to move on and start doing some work yourself.
Yeah, and the other thing you always hear about too, especially when there's been quite a bit of damage, is they should have totaled it and they didn't. But yeah, how do they determine whether it's totaled and then what it's worth when they do?
Yeah, a total car is when the cost of repair exceeds the value of the car. So if it's real close, because again they're determining what that value is, people sometimes want it totaled, want a new vehicle, and other people just kind of fell in love with their old car and hope it gets fixed. So that can also be a serious point of contention.
And, you know, what if you think, though, that you're not getting as much as you should be? Do you have any recourse?
That's the question I get more often than not. You can. I mean, you can go on the trader.com. You can go on even on any of the sites that sell cars and try to prove and say, look, my car was more like this. My car had the better wheels, it had a better stereo system, and therefore I want to bump that value up a little bit. And that's what you're required to do. And oftentimes insurance companies are fair and will listen to you. So that tends to be a lot of phone calls.
Okay, you make all those phone calls and they still don't go with you. What do you do then?
That's
Nothing?
the old-fashioned deal, right? You can go to court, right? You go to small claims court if the value is low enough. Otherwise, and that is time and often money.
How about gap insurance?
Yeah, you know, gap insurance, a little bit misunderstood, but what it is, at the time that you lease or buy a car and you finance the car, you can buy this insurance. So if it turns out that at the time of the accident that your car is worth $12,000 but you owe $15,000, the gap insurance will pay that gap between those two numbers, and therefore you can kind of walk away from the car without owing anything. Without the gap insurance, I talk about it all the time with clients, not their fault, in an accident, car's been totaled, and they owe more than it's worth. So they go through an accident and they have to write a check and they don't have a car.
Boy, that's tough. That's insult to injury for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for all that information. We'll put it on our website so people can revisit this and hopefully won't need it. But if they do, they're prepared now. And if you have any questions for Paul Harding or anyone from Martin, Harding and Mazzotti, email them to whatareyourrights@cbs6albany.com.